Hi, everyone. My name is Adriel Hanson. I'm a person in long term recovery. I'm also a recovery advocate at Wasatch Crest. For those of you who don't know, Wasatch Crest is a recovery center in Heber City, Utah. We treat individuals struggling with substance abuse problems, alcoholism, and underlying mental health issues up in the Wasatch Mountain Range. Really beautiful facility, really beautiful views. One of the most serene places that I get to go to. I wanted to share my recovery story with you all today, just to show you that recovery is possible. Um, I started using substances when I was 12 years old, is when I started drinking. And by the time I was 15, I had got involved in meth as well. And um, in my youth, I went to several treatment centers. My first one at 15. And then between 15 and 17, I went to three other long term residential treatment centers. And when I had got out of treatment when I was younger, I stayed clean for 4 years. The problem that I found that I can reflect back on now was that I didn't have any aftercare. I was able to tackle a lot of my core issues, but I didn't continue that afterwards. And so now I always introduce myself as, my name is Adriel Hanson. I'm a person in long-term recovery. And what that looks like for me is that I haven't had to use mind-altering substance since October 31st of 2018. For me, that long-term recovery is the important piece. And that all has to do with the aftercare that I have now. In 2016, I lost my mom to lupus. I was the one who found her in her apartment. And that started some pretty heavy, lapses for me. And it wasn't until in September of 2018 I decided to find help. And as I was getting help, my house ended up getting raided. I have three children. I almost lost my children. Obviously got criminal charges, but I was ready. I was really ready to give in. I wanted a different life. I wanted a different life for me. I wanted a different life for my kids. Um, my father growing up was used substances until just a few years before he passed away, and he passed away right after I got into recovery. 6 months after I got into recovery, my dad passed away, and this time it's been really different for me because I've decided to show up. I've decided to be a part of. Um, Wasatch Crest was my first introduction into working in recovery. I had been volunteering at USARA. Me and my wife, we ran Family Fun Night, and I had just realized in that moment that recovery was where I belonged. My stories, my experiences were there to help teach somebody else something and to guide somebody else into something great. And so I applied at Wasatch Crest, and I've worked at Wasatch Crest every Sunday for this last year, and it's something that I really enjoy. I love the treatment curriculum. I love the environment. All of the staff really care. And for me, that really solidified my career path or my choice to just continue to work in recovery. My experience is in executive management, and I didn't ever imagine myself working in, somewhat of a social work role. But now I'm a certified peer support specialist. I do work full time in recovery, and I, my recovery has been stronger this time because I choose to be a part of it. I'm really active in YPR. I have the opportunity to be able to admin a group, Addicted We Stand, with over 18,000 members. And every day I get to show up. Um, you know, in my youth, it was hard because I was trying to live this double life. I was, going to work as chief operating officer, and then coming home and lapsing and struggling to keep, more than 2 weeks clean at a time. And it was miserable. The lies that I had to continue to circle around and the feeling of misery was tough. And I didn't get to process the loss of my mom until after I had finally decided to get clean. And now I am always trying to push the message that if you need help, reach out. If you need help, please reach out for support, because there's tons of support out there, and you're not in this alone. Over the last few years, I've lost several friends to this disease, and it hurts. It hurts every time because I wish that I could do more. But don't feel alone. Don't feel like you have to go through this alone. I basically had 18 years of use, with 4 years of sobriety really in between. And the rest of that was all using. And now the life that I get to live is full of joy. I wake up every day and I'm happy. And it's not to say that my life is without struggle, because the struggle is always there. There's real life incidents that we have to deal with, but I get to process and deal with my emotions in the right way now. Um, I get to talk to therapists. I get to feel emotion when they come up. I don't have to numb myself anymore. And for me, my use was all about the numbing. I was always trying to escape something, but in escaping, I escaped being there for my family. I escaped, a wonderful career. We lost our house, we lost our cars. I mean, we lost everything because of my addiction. But I get to rebuild that now. I get the opportunity to show up for others. And I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. And I was meant to work in the recovery field, and I will continue to do so. My goal is to eventually work with adolescents. And Wasatch Crest really has given me that platform to be able to find my voice and my passion. When I started at Wasatch Crest, I thought it was going to be, just a 1 day a week thing. And that was the reason, I mean, that was the place that got me to want to work full time in recovery. Um, you know, I think about all of the crazy things that I did while using, and I think about on the flip side where my life is at today and the opportunities that I have today to get to show up for people, and to get to be that pillar of support. Um, when when my house had first got raided, I had this decision to make, and I thought that not being home or not being around my family was going to be the best service that I could do to them, and I would have regretted that decision for the rest of my life. Instead, I decided to show up, and I decided to handle everything. I ended up getting off probation within 7 months. And now I'm just so involved in my community and so involved with the people around me that I get to use my experiences to support and help others. And that's one thing that I definitely love about Wasatch Crest, is that we all have lived experience, and we all get to show up and really care for people who come out there. And it's not the same that I've seen everywhere else. I love what's different about Wasatch Crest. And for me, it's honestly the beautiful views is just amazing. It's an amazing way to spend your time. But it's also the people that work there. So many people that really care, and something that I'm so honored and grateful to be a part of. I owe a lot to Wasatch Crest. That is the kind of the beginning of my real recovery journey. I started there when I was a year sober, and the growth that I had there was beyond anything that I ever thought possible. And the connections that I've built have really become family. And every client that comes in is treated the same, and for me becomes part of this Wasatch Crest family that's so meaningful. Um, you know, the biggest things that I can say is if you haven't been to treatment and you're suffering with substance use or alcoholism or mental health, give it a shot. You owe it to yourself, and you deserve a good life. You deserve the blessings that come with recovery. I also suffer with bipolar disorder, and it's a heavy weight to carry alone. And it's another reason why I continue therapy and why I continue to show up. Because recovery, especially with mental health, it's an uphill battle and is something that we need support. We don't have to fight through these things alone. Um, in early recovery, it was really tough because all I could think about all the time was using. The further I've got into my recovery, the less I think about that. And the things now that keep me away from using is my recovery community. It's the family that I've built at Wasatch Crest. It's the family that I've built in my local community. It's the people that I have that I can call and reach out to that mean the world to me. I have a list of 20 other people I would call before I would ever try to go pick up again. And any one of those 20 people would be enough to stop me from using, which is the reason why I've been able to make it these last 2 years. And it's the reason why I'll continue to make it. But recovery is not a process that stops. Long-term recovery is a thing that we continue to have to work on. Getting the help that we need and then continuing that support. The opposite of addiction is connection, and I mean that's so true. To keep ourselves in recovery, we have to stay connected. One thing that I'm really grateful for that Wasatch Crest has is the alumni meetings and keeping people involved and engaged. And that's something that I strongly believe in is once treatment's over, it's not over. Once treatment's over, it's time to put your foot on the gas even more. Keep yourself involved, show up for activities, anything that you can do to keep yourself connected in the community and to give back. Service is such an important part of recovery and is the thing that really, brings me joy. I can always find opportunities to help people out and to be there for others, to show up. It's about finding balance, but in that same respect, giving away what was so freely given to us and helping others because it's a we thing. This is not an I thing. I could not have done this alone. I could not have done this without the supports that I have today. But I can do it because I have support and I have community. Long-term recovery for me now is amazing. Every morning I get to wake my boys up. I get to take them to school. I get to go work and help other people in recovery. And at the end of the day, I get to come home to my kids. I'm no longer running off trying to find substances or mentally checked out because I'm on substances. I get this opportunity to be there and be present. And I get to look in the mirror and I love myself today. Like I can actually look at myself and smile. And that's something that I didn't have most of my life because I had all of these core issues that still needed to be worked on. Recovery is possible for anybody. I have seen, myself being where I was at and people very close to me. I have seen people fall so far and still make it back. And I can tell you that as long as you're alive, you have the opportunity to recover and you can recover. But please be willing to reach out for support because that support and that reaching out is the thing that will get you connected into recovery. And once you're in, if you're really in it wholeheartedly, you'll see what promises and what an amazing life recovery can be. It's so cliche, but like the grass is really greener where you water it. And recovery is all about watering your grass all the time. It's not something that ever stops. But I can say that things have gotten easier for me now. In the beginning, I hit a lot more meetings than I do now. Now I have my home groups that I go to and I attend more if things are getting kind of hectic or I see them getting out of control. But I keep in touch with my support system. I haven't stopped reaching out. I haven't stopped staying connected. And I can definitely say that this year has been tough because some of the meetings in person are not in person, but it's not an excuse for me because I can find virtual meetings, I can find ways to connect with people in person. It's been time for me to push even harder because the lack of in-person meetings, I find other ways to connect, and most of those are going to be virtual meetings. And I know that Wasatch Crest now offers virtual IOP, which is fantastic and really just gives the opportunity for people to still be able to get connected or get the treatment that they need. And the options are there. I really just want to thank you for listening to my story today. To learn about treatment programs and admission processes, feel free to visit our website at wasatchcresttreatment.com, or you can give us a call on our 24/7 line. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great day. Please feel free to like and share if you want.